This game gave us countless unforgettable memories. But some of the moments we remember most clearly were also the ones that frustrated an entire generation of players. So, how many times did you swim toward one of these ladders, thinking you had finally found an easy way out of the water, only to discover that CJ cannot climb ladders at all? You can find them in many places throughout San Andreas, especially around the small docks near San Fierro airport, where they look exactly like something CJ should be able to use, right? Since CJ cannot climb them, you are forced to swim around the airport looking for a boat. Keep swimming until you finally find a place where CJ can actually get back onto land, or simply give up and use a cheat. Luckily, thanks to talented modders, there is now a mod that finally gives CJ the ability to climb ladders throughout the game. Now the ladders finally make sense and these locations feel a little more realistic. And then there was the draw distance, which could become especially dangerous whenever you were flying across the map at high speed. You could be flying a Hydra over the countryside with nothing visible in front of you, when suddenly the plane exploded and the wasted screen appeared. And only after the crash would the tree, building, or other large object you had just hit finally appear, because the game simply could not render it quickly enough before the collision. This was especially noticeable in forest areas, where many trees had to load at once, and on older consoles or weaker computers that struggled to display everything in time. When I played the original PlayStation 2 version as a kid, moments like this could make me genuinely rage. Let me know if this ever happened to you too. Driving through San Andreas can sometimes feel completely unpredictable, especially when you are traveling at high speed on a highway. A car can be driving normally beside you for several seconds, only to suddenly turn directly into your lane without any warning. This can happen almost anywhere, but it is especially frustrating on rural highways and around Las Venturas, where we often drive much faster. Because of this randomness, even a completely normal journey can suddenly turn into a massive accident that was not really your fault. But you know what? Somehow it is still fun anyway. But unpredictable traffic is not the only problem, because some drivers can become even more dangerous after the smallest accidental collision. A tiny scratch can be enough for an NPC to treat it like a personal attack and completely lose control. Some drivers stay inside their vehicles and begin ramming us repeatedly, following us through the streets and trying to push our car off the road. Just look at this example. One aggressive driver keeps ramming me across the main road in Las Venturas, and then a second driver accidentally gets caught in the chaos and decides to join in as well. Within seconds, both of them are repeatedly crashing into my car as if they are working together to destroy it. But other NPCs get out, suddenly pull out a baseball bat or even a shovel, and start chasing CJ as if that tiny scratch was enough to justify murder. And if you try to escape, they can continue following you for several blocks, crashing into traffic, pedestrians, and almost everything else along the way. What begins as a harmless little accident can quickly turn into a completely unnecessary road war. All because you touched their car for half a second. I personally loved these moments. And of course, no list of frustrating things in GTA San Andreas would be complete without its most infamous missions. Supply lines, wrong side of the tracks, free fall, and several others frustrated countless players, especially when we were younger. I already made a full video about the missions players hated the most, so you can watch it through the card on screen. And once you watch it, let me know which mission frustrated you the most. Changing CJ's clothes may sound like a quick and simple process, but creating an entire outfit can take surprisingly long. Every time we select a different piece of clothing, CJ has to walk into the changing room, disappear for a moment, and then slowly walk back out again. And if we want to change his shirt, trousers, shoes, hat, glasses, and everything else, we have to watch the same animation over and over again. What should take only a few seconds can easily become a long and repetitive process, especially when we are still trying to decide which clothes actually look good together. Luckily, modders have created faster clothing change mods that skip these animations and allow us to switch between clothes almost instantly. San Andreas has a huge map, and while traveling across it can be enjoyable, some missions force us to drive long distances just to reach a single objective. One example is the mission Lure, where we have to leave San Fierro and travel all the way to the countryside near Angel Pine. The mission itself is not necessarily difficult, but once it ends, we are still left far away from San Fierro and have to make the entire journey back on our own. Photo opportunity can feel even more exhausting because we first have to meet Caesar, then drive across a large part of the map in his savannah, and finally reach the countryside near Angel Pine. And because the savannah can feel unstable in sharper turns, I flipped it and failed the mission at least twice when I played it on my old PlayStation 2 as a kid. Being stranded in the middle of the countryside after driving almost all the way to Angel Pine was really frustrating. Even when we complete the mission successfully, Caesar simply leaves, while we are once again stranded far away from the next missions in San Fierro. These moments are frustrating because the game sometimes makes us travel a long distance and then gives us no convenient way to return. And then, there is lung capacity, a statistic that many players probably ignored for most of the game. But when we reach the mission Amphibious Assault, the game may suddenly refuse to let us continue because CJ has not spent enough time swimming underwater. So before we can start the mission, we have to find some water, repeatedly dive beneath the surface, wait until CJ is almost out of air, and then come back up. We have to repeat this process several times just to increase a statistic that is required for this one specific part of the story. Cool, right? It is not difficult, but swimming up and down simply to unlock the next mission can become incredibly repetitive. And the funniest part is that experienced players can use a speedrun trick to skip the underwater section of the mission anyway. And finally, there is one phone call that many longtime San Andreas players can probably still hear perfectly in CJ's voice.
Hey Caesar, TheJizzy leaving San Fierro, right?
After unlocking the drug courier activity, Caesar can repeatedly call us to announce that another shipment is leaving the city, even when we are busy doing something completely different. The courier mission itself is optional, but after hearing the same conversation again and again, these phone calls can begin to feel much less optional. We can be modifying a car, exploring the countryside, or simply traveling toward another mission. And suddenly, TheJizzy is leaving San Fierro once again. So, despite all of these frustrating moments, we still love San Andreas. Because for many of us, this game was not just part of our childhood, it was a huge part of it. Did you experience these same frustrations? Or is there something else in the game that still annoys you even today? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video, guys.